welcome to Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day, a show that gives you great insights into, let's say, is it business? You want to know more about forex rates, you want to know more about traffic updates, but we go beyond that. We have topical discussions regarding issues that affects you and I in this country, but also we normally look at issues that are happening in countries all across the world and even within the East African region. And speaking about the East African region, our brothers and sisters in Kenya are celebrating 60 years of independence today. Yes, Kenya is 60 years old today since they got their independence, and here from Good Morning Uganda and Uganda itself, we say congratulations upon reaching this milestone. Of course, we know the stories that happened before the independence. We know about the rebellions that happened in Kenya. We know about the Maji rebellion, the Mau Mau rebellion that happened both in Tanzania and in Kenya before independence. But today we celebrate being independent, and we celebrate that our brothers and sisters in Kenya, of course in their capital Nairobi, are celebrating a great feat and achievement. Now, coming back home, we had issues yesterday. I'm sure if you have been on the news and if you have been on social media, you saw what happened when City House went down in flames. We will have a deeper discussion about this, but first of all, I would like to check on the team that I move with every single morning. Good morning, Joram Paul Sonko.
Good morning, Monica. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. I'm trying to get the right words for Kiswahili this morning.
Yes.
So that I can wish my Kenyan brothers a happy Independence Day. But when you mention what really happened yesterday, I think it is now the talk of town because of the events that transpired in Kampala, downtown, disrupting business activities, disrupting traffic flow, and of course, looking at the fact that it also created room for insecurity at that particular moment.
That's true.
So there are lots of questions to ask as to why we had this fire outbreak, and also the speed at which the police came through to help out those who had already been affected by the fires. That is a conversation that you can look at and see, well, there is a lot that needs to be done. But of course, it was a shocker for everybody who woke up yesterday, because it is the festive season, and these are things you wouldn't wish to be happening to anyone in this country in such times.
That's for sure, and truly we will be able to unpack much more regarding this issue and look at it in a wider scope. But for now, Chirawa Robert Nyonyintono.
Praise the Lord.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm very fine, grateful for the gift of life.
I like how you sound this morning, way better than you sounded yesterday.
The healing hand of the Lord has never ceased to heal and treat his lovely people. Now, good morning, our viewers. Hope you had the best of your night. Yesterday was full of activities, of course, for the brothers and sisters in the business community. The City House fire was really something that disorganized a number of them. Many of these people operate on loans. But I also want to go to the drama in Parliament. The chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission was supposed to meet the Speaker, the leader of opposition, and have this issue, according to her, of missing persons dealt with once and for all. However, the leader of opposition came out and said, but the invitation had that you come with your commissioners. You only came with about 2 technical people, so this is not what we are looking for. However, journalists spoke to her after the flopped meeting, and for some reason, she seemed not very happy. She said Mpuga knows, Honorable Mathias Mpuga knows that they are peddling lies. They know the truth, but they have chosen just to ride on this entire issue of missing persons. Now, the opposition says they are taking their guards now to the fishing community, human rights abuse on the lakes. So she felt that she had come to have this matter dealt with once and for all of missing persons. So it seems the fire is not yet about to stop.
It seems like so, because now that they are moving away from that, going to the fishing community, we have had issues with that community already. So now if the opposition is starting to jump onto it, definitely this is not about to be over. Lady in green, good morning.
Good morning, Olive. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I can see it turns out there's a memo that was sent out for green. The gentleman didn't get.
Listen, they say great minds think alike.
So,
No, I said the men didn't get the memo. That's what I said.
but which greens are these?
This is forest green.
Now you
I
know
thought that is olive green.
in our day we
forest
only
green.
have two colors.
I only know light,
Light?
and dark green.
Good boy.
I blame your primary school
Okay,
teachers,
we're not
please.
even going to go into the detail of which colors men know. We will be very disappointed.
Because you will show a man wine red and he will say that is pink.
Wine red.
Song. Are we together?
There we go.
What is wine red in this, in this particular incident here?
There we go. I was trying to help my brother Sonko, who was trying to get the Swahili words to say Happy Independence Day. It's Furaha Siku ya Uhuru.
Furaha.
Yes, Furaha Siku ya Uhuru.
Why does Happy Independence Day have the word Uhuru in it? Yet Uhuru was a president.
Because Uhuru is ideally independent.
By the look of things, we might have to check someone's diction when it comes to Swahili language.
I'm so bad.
But good morning, viewers. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
You know, Olive, also,
Yes.
today Uganda should as well know that the president is going to be marking the inauguration of the National Population and Housing Census 2024, and this will be at the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, where we are going to be launching the Uganda Census 2024. And so you get to realize that we once had a conversation about the census itself.
That's true.
So Ugandans should as well have it in mind that this time around, come 2024, we are likely to get into that particular count, as your count does matter.
That's true. And sometimes some people wonder, why do we even need a census? But let me tell you something. For instance, you're a marketer or you're in marketing. Such decisions, such initiatives by the government will actually help some decisions and will help, let's say, a marketer in their way of planning their campaigns. They put a lot of things into consideration. And speaking of consideration, we normally gather local news stories for you and, of course, international news stories. But for now, Chirabo Robert Nyonyintana will give us the first story of the day.
Well, as we have the story, there's so much happened yesterday, but we shall be having it any soon. But before we go to that, Sonko, I'm just asking my mind what transpired yesterday, and of course so much that was happening there.
Well, speaking of what was happening yesterday, besides what the videos that have been circulating on social media in regards to the incident that happened in Kampala of the fire outbreak. So there was a lot of conversations rotating around how Ugandans prepare themselves for such uncertainties, especially since it's not the very first time that we've had the kind of fire outbreak in the city. When you look at some of the other occurrences, which also include the bomb blasts in the capital, there has always been something blowing up, especially with the fact that how our response to such circumstances occur. And besides that, some people are actually sharing their ideas on the fact that early in the morning, what were the men who were pictured.
Actually, that is the part I wanted to move away from the bit of seriousness there, but the part where we saw people coming out
through windows,
not through windows, but nature of dress code. People coming out in towels.
Yes.
People coming
As
out.
early as
this is a business center that houses a number of businesses.
Yes.
Some you might there's shops, textile shops on the building. You never know someone is trying.
Wow, I would like
clothes.
to know the correlation between textile shops and people coming out in towels.
Well, they were trying on some clothes.
Textiles.
You know, it was so
Interesting.
with this. It was very interesting to see that we had a very difficult moment. Much as there was an aim to save life and property, and also so much that was trending on social media away from the main news platforms. But well, let's look at the local stories and as they are coming in. And we'll begin with the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Amongi, who has postponed the meeting with the Uganda Human Rights Commission due to lack of quorum. Speaker Anita Amongi earlier engaged the leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga, and the chairperson of Uganda Human Rights Commission, Mariam Wangadia, in a fruitless meeting. Chairperson Mariam Wangadia informed the speaker that her commissioners are away on official duties and asked the meeting to be rescheduled. Last week, the speaker asked to meet members of the Uganda Human Rights Commission before the commission would start responding to the demands of the oppositions, including alleged human rights abuse. After a closed-door meeting, the leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga, addressed the media saying that the parties agreed to postpone the meeting to a new date.
Now moving on, police in Kampala has confirmed one person dead in the fire that gutted City House building downtown Kampala, destroying property worth billions of shillings. Persons at the scene of the incident told UBC that the fire started at around 8:30 a.m. from one of the rooms before spreading to the whole building. The building houses various businesses.
And moving on, police have impounded 1,460 cows, while 105 cattle keepers have exited Gulu district in response to the presidential directive requiring all Balaro to vacate the northern region. The Joint Anti-Terrorist Task Force have arrested a disguised madman armed with an AK-47 magazine in Jinja City as well.
Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association has dragged the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, the former Secretary General of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, Haj Ramadan Mugalu, and Justus Chamahwa to court over sale of Muslim property. Lawyers say the three entered a fraudulent transaction well knowing that it was stealing and illegally taking the Muslim property. They want court to compel Mubaje and Haji Mugalu to pay 19 billion shillings. Well, that wraps up our local news stories. Now, Chantal Olive Akandinda will give us the international news.
On the international scene, we cross over, starting with Turkish football. Now, Turkish football bosses suspended all leagues after a referee was punched to the ground by a club president following a top-flight game on Monday. Halil Umut Mela was struck by MKE president Faruk Koka, who ran onto the pitch after his team conceded a 97th minute equalizer in a 1-1 Super League draw with Rizapol. The matches in all leagues have been postponed indefinitely, Turkish FA chairman Mehmet said in a news conference. This attack is a night of shame for Turkish football, he added. Mela received several blows from others as he lay on the turf and suffered injuries, including a minor fracture. The incident sparked chaotic scenes involving players and club officials. Koka required treatment in hospital, but detention procedures will be carried out after the treatment, said Turkey's Minister of Internal Affairs. Moving on, Ukrainian President Zelensky says that failing to maintain support for Ukraine would play into the hands of Russian President Putin as questions loom over the future of assistance from the United States. Speaking on Monday to soldiers at the National Defense University during a trip to Washington, D.C., Zelensky said Ukraine would continue its fight to expel Russian forces from the country. We won't give up. We know what to do, and you can count on Ukraine. And we hope just as much to be able to count on you, Zelensky said. Let me be frank with you, friends. If there is anyone inspired by unresolved issues on Capitol Hill, it's just Putin and his sick clique, he added. Zelensky and U.S. President Joe Biden have argued that helping Ukraine resist Russia's invasion launched in February 2022 is in the mutual interest of both countries as support for Ukrainian aid hits political snags in the U.S. Also in other stories, the United Nations mission in Mali has officially ended a 10-year deployment in the country, its spokesperson said in a pullout ordered by Mali's military government. The mission, known as the UN Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in Mali, lowered the UN flag in its headquarters in the capital, Bamako, its spokesperson, Kaba, told the AFP news agency yesterday. The symbolic ceremony marks the official end of the mission, she said, even though some of the elements of it are still there. A liquidation phase will take place after January 1st, including activities such as handing over any remaining equipment to the authorities. Now, lastly, speaking matters climate, the latest iteration of negotiating text this year at this year's Global Climate Summit has dropped a previous version's suggestion of a phase-out of fossil fuels. Instead, the latest draft text introduced Monday calls for reducing consumption and production of fossil fuels in a just, orderly and equitable manner. A group of 80 countries, including the US, small island nations and the European Union, have reportedly called for a phase-out of fossil fuels. But official decisions have to be adopted unanimously by the nearly 200 countries at the COP28 Climate Summit. News outlets reported last week that the head of a group of oil-producing countries known as OPEC wrote its members urging them to oppose language that targets fossil fuels. In addition to its call to reduce such fuels, the latest texts call for a rapid phase-down of unabated coal, that is coal whose emissions are not prevented through carbon capture technology. It also calls for permitting on new and unabated coal power. That is it for climate news and also what is happening across different parts of the world.
Thank you, Chantal. Now, Jerome Paul Sonko will be giving us what the press has for us this morning.
Well, and I kick off with the new vision from our local dailies as ECOP is the bigger headline. First oil pipes arrive in Dar es Salaam. Construction work start next month. Read about the East African crude oil pipeline project. Uganda's oil and gas sector is definitely kicking off in high gear. Now, one dead as fire guts City House, pictorial of the destroyed property with that fire that did destroy a lot at the City House in Kampala yesterday. Now, infrastructure, you're going to get 932 billion shillings for roads. Which roads are those? More highlights of the same in the New Vision today. Balalo eviction, security seizes 1,460 animals. As also 22 Ugandans held by rebels in Myanmar. Read about that in the New Vision today. Now, the Daily Monitor, the fate of the EC top bosses hangs in the balance. In between the lines, the renewal blues. The board in charge of the country's election has been plunged into uncertainty after it emerged that the contracts of majority of the top executives have not been renewed with just a month to their expiry. Then burnt down City House, morning fire claims a life. Then in the other news, Kampala's accident hotspots named as Mubaje sued over sale of Muslim property. Now, the Daily Monitor also highlights Mumbere tour triggers fresh tension as the principal judge says I have written to 15 judges on case backlog. Then also experts have urged Africa on water security. Now let's cross the borders to Tanzania as the Citizen newspaper is highlighting revealed new use for Kurasini land. And then Africa feels impact of climate change as COP28 ends. Now, fuel storage capacity set for expansion as a vast tract of idle land in Dar es Salaam that was initially set aside for the proposed Kurasini Trade and Logistics Center has been transferred to Dar es Salaam port for use as a green channel. Now, fight against trade barriers goes digital. That is what the Citizen newspaper is highlighting this Tuesday. Well, and that's it for the press review this morning.
Thank you so much, Jerome Paul Sonko. Now we will take a short break, but we will leave you with Mariah Carey or Holy Night. We'll be right back. It is the 12th day of December 2023. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day, a show that gives you great insights into, let's say, is it business? You want to know more about forex rates, you want to know more about traffic updates, but we go beyond that. We have topical discussions regarding issues that affects you and I in this country, but also we normally look at issues that are happening in countries all across the world and even within the East African region. And speaking about the East African region, our brothers and sisters in Kenya are celebrating 60 years of independence today. Yes, Kenya is 60 years old today since they got their independence, and here from Good Morning Uganda and Uganda itself, we say congratulations upon reaching this milestone. Of course, we know the stories that happened before the independence. We know about the rebellions that happened in Kenya. It is the 12th day of December 2023. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day, a show that gives you great insights into, let's say, is it business? You want to know more about forex rates, you want to know more about traffic updates, but we go beyond that. We have topical discussions regarding issues that affects you and I in this country, but also we normally look at issues that are happening in countries all across the world and even within the East African region. And speaking about the East African region, our brothers and sisters in Kenya are celebrating 60 years of independence today. Yes, Kenya is 60 years old today since they got their independence, and here from Good Morning Uganda and Uganda itself, we say congratulations upon reaching this milestone. Of course, we know the stories that happened before the independence. We know about the rebellions that happened in Kenya. It is the 12th day of December 2023. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day, a show that gives you great insights into, let's say, is it business? You want to know more about forex rates, you want to know more about traffic updates, but we go beyond that. We have topical discussions regarding issues that affects you and I in this country, but also we normally look at issues that are happening in countries all across the world and even within the East African region. And speaking about the East African region, our brothers and sisters in Kenya are celebrating 60 years of independence today. Yes, Kenya is 60 years old today since they got their independence, and here from Good Morning Uganda and Uganda itself, we say congratulations upon reaching this milestone. Of course, we know the stories that happened before the independence. We know about the rebellions that happened in Kenya. It is the 12th day of December 2023. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day, a show that gives you great insights into, let's say, is it business? You want to know more about forex rates, you want to know more about traffic updates, but we go beyond that. We have topical discussions regarding issues that affects you and I in this country, but also we normally look at issues that are happening in countries all across the world and even within the East African region. And speaking about the East African region, our brothers and sisters in Kenya are celebrating 60 years of independence today. Yes, Kenya is 60 years old today since they got their independence, and here from Good Morning Uganda and Uganda itself, we say congratulations upon reaching this milestone. Of course, we know the stories that happened before the independence. We know about the rebellions that happened in Kenya. We don't take it for granted that you're still with us on Good Morning Uganda. Thank you so much for being a part of this program that begins your day. And thank you so much for being with us every morning from Monday to Friday, 6:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. every day of the week, Monday to Friday. And of course, we welcome you now to this hour of our newsreel. Time check is 2 minutes past 7. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am joined by Chantal and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Thank you so much for being a part of us. Now let's delve right into it. Yesterday there was a fire in the city, and this fire unfortunately razed down the entire City House building. This building houses the DP, that is Democratic Party offices, and also was home to many businesses including textile shops and printing shops and also restaurants among others. Now, for what we know, the police says that one person died as a result of this fire. He was taken to Mulago National Referral Hospital so that they can do a post-mortem and find out the cause of his death. But also, we are still not yet sure about the cause of the fire because there is still an inquest by the Uganda Police Force. We will know the details later on. For now, what we know is that businesses were lost, and these ones were in billions of shillings. I'm sure you have seen by now, you have either seen it on the news or on social media, and of course pictorials of many business people that had businesses in that building, flabbergasted by what happened yesterday morning. Now, this is not the first fire that we have experienced as a country. In 2011, there was a fire at Cham Towers that affected most of the shops that were on the ground floor, and back then it was said that a cleaner knocked a socket and that started the fire. And when the cleaner tried to find a fire extinguisher to take out the fire, they could not, and before anyone knew, the fire had spread and affected other shops. Also, away from the business buildings where we have seen fires, we have seen tremendous amounts of loss, including life when fires have caught up in schools. Just recently, a few months ago, there was a fire in Masaka at Kasana Primary School, and more than 8 pupils perished in this fire. Obviously, we cannot forget the fire that was in Budo Junior School years ago in 2008 that killed many. So we have had fires, whether in markets or in schools. We have had fires in buildings like City House, like Champ Towers, and the underlying question here is, why do we keep having these fires? Why is it that we are, if it is not a school, it is a business building. If it is not that, it is a market. St. Valley Kudembe has been a victim of these fires for many years. So we are asking the question today, what is the major cause of these fires? Chirao.
Well, thank you so much. It's very unfortunate that we are discussing something that really touches the hearts of people, because it involves losses of lives,
yes,
which is very paramount. When we lose a life, it takes precedent over everything, but also losses in terms of the economy.
That's true.
Some of these people are going to recover, some will never. That has been their end. Now, there are quite a number of causes of fires, like you mentioned, the various fires that we've had. But I want to highlight 3 major causes of fires. Of course, there are fires, we never get a report. And police will never tell you, like the 2008 Budo. Police came out and said that one thing, the scene was highly contaminated. So getting evidence, gathering evidence, everyone had touched anywhere, you know, yet sometimes they need fingerprints, they need forensic to pick those samples. When we talk about, for me, the most recent is Sarama School for the Deaf,
yes,
where we saw these innocent girls burnt. Now, a number of fires in this country happen as a result of arson. For example, when we go to schools, the police report indicates that over 80% of fires in schools are a result of arson. It means someone deliberately decided to burn the school down. Go to Salama School of the Deaf. It was discovered, it was arson. They are taken samples from the male staff, fingerprints, but they didn't match with the samples they collected on scene. So now they are trying also to get those of the women and other workers. That was arson. Go to Parkyard. People, I think Parkyard is the place where now we have, is it Ham Tower, Ham Shopping Mall?
Yes.
That place about 2 times.
More than 2 times, actually.
But I covered 2 times, where they would even show us a hole and what was used to set ablaze. That was arson. Now, away from arson, we also have unattended to charcoal stoves. Most of the markets we have where we've had fires, most of these city buildings where we've had fires, someone has left a charcoal stove. You know, they have these restaurants. So some, as they are going away, they want to leave their beans or something, so that by morning they have where to start for people who take early breakfast.
That's true.
So they will tell you what way sigiri. Even
now I've seen media reports alleging that it is suspected that the fire at City House could have been started by a charcoal stove.
By a charcoal stove. Now, we've had those many incidents. Charcoal stove, village setting, it is a candle. Tadova, how is it? Have you ever seen one by the way?
Yeah.
Tadova, you know
yes,
that?
yes.
Yeah.
Tadova.
In the villages, it's either a candle or that thing where... So, 3 major causes. Now, the 3rd one is electricity.
Yeah, the heating equipment and all.
Most or a big number of these fires are a result of electric circuits, old wires. And you see in Uganda have rodents. Even when you stay in Kololo, they can come over.
Why are you pointing at it?
I mean,
there
was lice in Paris.
So these rodents, people, they wire then these rats come and begin biting these wires. So the wires connect at a certain point. They spark off.
And of course, we also have old buildings whose wiring.
And this is usually actually in old buildings.
Yes.
A person will build a house, have children there, have grandchildren there, but they will never look at their wiring. Yet you hear them buy poles and all this to
And
further
for all the
roads.
renovations they do actually, it's
The
painting
wiring
the
is
house.
Painting,
They barely do the
they
wiring.
barely go into the wiring. So the three major causes, we have arson, we have unattended to, charcoal stoves, tadovas, candles, unattended to fires that spark off. Then finally is the wiring. And remember, most people are not using professionals to carry out this wiring. Because there is a regulatory body that licenses people. It is all about, you know what the people they call Bakamufu. A young, there is an electric engineer, so he has someone he's working with over a time. So this person gets to learn how to do the job. Then what happens? The next is wiring someone's house. We've seen people electrocuted as they are putting clothes on wires, you know.
Oh, I remember an incident. Was it shortly or after, within the lockdown, of a family that lost 2 children and a maid? One person was putting clothes on the wire, and then they were electrocuted. And then when these other kids tried to come and help, so a maid and 2 children from the same family all perished. But it goes back
to
poor wiring.
And for the business community, most of those buildings you see in Kampala, they're not using professionals, this I must say, to wire these buildings. Now, a person enters a room, because they're stationary, and they're about 2 sockets. But this one has a printer, this one has a printer, they all need electricity. Now, one wire that was bringing is giving out, people tapping.
So let me ask Robert, when you say that, who is the culprit here? Is it the owner of the building that didn't do proper wiring, or is it the tenants that are now trying to get more sources of power within a certain room or within certain rooms that are causing the problem?
It goes back to physical planning.
I think it takes on the owner first, because this is your property. You must inspect, not just look at the revenue you're getting. Then also the people themselves. Because we've done, you know, our motto is very good for God and my country. His grace has been so much for us that we've done, if you move in these buildings, you people, go to this printer, you even look at the naked wires, nothing covered. Any short circuit can bring fire, but there's stationary paper, or it's even a bar. So the tenants themselves are putting their lives at risk. It is okay, I'll come and get a shop from you. You're telling me I want 2 million a month. Then I'll sub rent. You have like a small space, and at the end of the day, I also have some space. So all of us need electricity. Look at how many bulbs when you go to these shops. I won't mention arcades or places. Very many bulbs, and all of them, when you look at the source of electricity, if a professional came, he would just tell you, this is the time.
But then, Robert, when you put it like that, don't you think it goes back down to the owner of this building? Listen, if I'm entering your building or your house, and you're not even telling me, listen, this house or this building can only go up to this kind of capacity or can hold this capacity of equipment, what am I supposed to do? This is a commercial building. And by a commercial building, ideally, I will not even think, I will literally assume that in this commercial building, you have put it in place for any kind of business, unless if you limit me. Where you do not limit me, I'll have as many equipment as I can. So it goes back down to the owner. If you are setting up this building, what are you setting it up for? What is your plan for the building? What kind of businesses do you envision to be in there? If you're leaving it open, then please make sure that you have the capacity to accommodate, if not communicate properly with your tenants. Let them know how much it can hold. But the truth is, some owners of these buildings do not even know the capacity of their buildings. They don't know what capacity of equipment they can hold. They don't. They're not aware. All they do is tell the engineers, put electricity, put maybe 5 sockets or 2 sockets, and that is it.
And the worst being also that many of these people have illegal connections. They want to cheat the electricity board.
That is the building owners.
The building owners, the tenants themselves. Remember, if for a particular number of people, there's a particular phase they will put. You have maybe the transformer. So Umeme thinks it's giving electricity to 1,000 people. Yet there is overloading on that. It is giving 2,000 people.
So let me get
these
this.
Illegal connections. Because if you're to do it professional and safer, you're making losses. People will tell you, I paid for garbage, I pay the license, if the electricity bills are also very high. So they'll find a way of tapping illegal connections.
Why do we think there is illegal connections? You have mentioned some of the reasons, but when you have a conversation with some of the traders, for instance, in our homes we have Yaka, right? So you can use as according to how much you have loaded. But when you have conversations with tenants, especially in arcades and malls, they will tell you that the landlord is the one who dictates how much a tenant is going to pay. So if people do not have control about how much power they are consuming, do we think that that also contributes to the problem where now we are going to have many illegal connections?
Well, if you put it to the tenant, usually, no, actually, let's put it to the owner. Most times when the owner is telling you that the one's paying for the electricity, there's something they're hiding. That is the plain truth. There is something they're hiding, and sometimes it's because they have an illegal connection that they wouldn't want their tenants to know, because you don't know who is your tenant, who do they know, where can they reach. You get it? So in most cases, these owners will retain that kind of power because they're trying to shield themselves from information being out there. But then where it comes to the tenants being the ones doing the illegal connections, usually it is because they cannot afford the cost of electricity. And we all do know that for electricity, commercial buildings are charged different from homesteads. And because of that, you realize that they end up paying much more money than the homesteads, and that is enough for someone to say, I am paying too much in electricity, I don't think I want to pay this whole amount of money. And they end up doing illegal connections, or even bribing some officials to connect them where they shouldn't be connected. So it is two ways. Where the owner is involved, they're probably protecting something, which could also be an illegal connection.
An illegal connection,
yes. Where the tenant is, they're trying to run away from the costs that come with these payments. Because let's all agree that some of these taxes on electricity, we've had this conversation over the months. The taxes on electricity are seemingly high for some of the people in the business industry.
Well, we would like for you to join this conversation by sharing your insights on measures to avert fire incidents in city buildings, but also schools and even markets. Share your insights on measures that can be taken to avert the fire incidents in city buildings. And you can join this conversation through WhatsApp number 0709602592, and the hashtag on the X app is UBCGMU. Would like to hear from you, because this fire affects these fires affect all of us. They, like yesterday, millions, or actually billions, were lost because the entire building was razed down. And of course, in other cases, parents have lost children. There was even a fatality in this fire at City House. And you never know, this could have been someone's husband, someone's father, and of course, since it was a person, it was someone's child, and they died in this fire. So how do we avert this? How do we make sure that we are safe at all times? Now, yesterday, police was commended for its fast, response. They were at the scene in very fast, and they were able to take down the fire. But we have had incidents where it has been alleged that the response was not up to par. What do we have to say about that?
Well, first I'll begin by not castigating police, but looking at other factors that sometimes make police arrival late.
Yes.
Now, normally when a fire happens in this beloved part of Africa, we first try to put it out.
Before we call police.
Before we call police. And I've been speaking to a number of officers in the rescue and fire department, and they tell you for a fire, it takes only 5 minutes.
To spread.
Spread. Now, even if a fire happened here, we know you have this very expensive equipment. We shall first bring water, we first try our. Then at last when we fail, and what do I mean when we fail? When it has almost come to the unstoppable bit of it, is we call police, fire brigade.
But Cheryl, haven't we
Now,
had cases where police has been called and the
I'm coming to
allegations
that.
of there was
I'm
no
coming to
fuel
that,
in-
but first I want to show you
Okay.
that most of the times where we've nailed police, people don't want to speak the fact. And the police will tell you because they have a book. We received a call, because I've ever done a story about this. And they took me through all these allegations that when did you, in your story, when did the fire start? The first witness tells you around 8. When did they call police fire brigade? 8:30. Now, 30 minutes for a fire.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. So there is that weakness that we first try and fail. And at the moment when we fail, the fire has really done havoc. But also accessibility.
That's one big problem.
And over a time, Ugandans have learned not to respect sirens.
Yes.
If it's a presidential convoy, we are waiting to see how we shall join and beat jam. So, and on addition to that disrespect of sirens, not knowing if even they are going to save a person or something, we have horrible jam. So, even if they receive the call in time, what helped here is the fire
Accessibility.
headquarters
Yes.
and city house are just a stone throw away.
And then the roads, it
And
is
the
right
roads,
on. Yes.
and even city house itself, its location.
Yeah, the location,
Yes.
yes.
The location is just some duster street, so it was able.
It is basically within roads.
The
There is
CBD,
Loam
yes.
Street,
Yeah.
there is Kampala
And
Road.
most
it's
of the
easy to
times,
access.
remember, when fires happen in the city, people rush to call fire brigade because it is not enclosed or you're not fighting your own. Someone is passing by, they'll see smoke.
And there is a
And there
personal
is
investment
quick,
there.
Yeah,
the
there is quick
businesses.
reporting
Yes.
to fire brigade, coupled with easy access of roads. Then, apart from easy access of roads, even the structure itself is situated at a place where the police fire trucks would come and get there. Now, sometimes the roads are good. We report on time. The structure is situated at a good place, but then the source of water becomes a problem. We are told that one time in Uganda, within the CDB, we had about 130 water hydrants. Now, the people who first planned this city had areas where they had put water points, that in case of a fire, police
easy.
can come, these trucks, and refill. But the last time I spoke to the head of the fire and rescue services, he said most of these fire hydrants were built upon. Remember, there was a fire in Chiseka Bucket, and by then I think it was Basil Mugisha. He said, there's a fire hydrant around here. They had a map. When we went to the fire hydrant,
There was a building on top.
there was a building on top. Now, when they go to refill and you hear people say, "Bazeng, mwakati muli mazi." You get it? Because they come with a truck loaded with water.
But they need to replenish.
But they need to refill. But where they would have connected and refilled very fast, say if around Bank of Uganda there is a fire hydrant, you just connect a hose pipe. There aren't. These were built on. These were vandalized. These ceased to exist. So they will try. But finally, also sometimes equipment. I must say we have very professional firefighters.
But the
But
equipment.
We have, I'm sorry to say, outdated equipment in terms of firefighting. The world has gone very far. People are now using aerial spray to put down fires.
Yes.
You know,
In a matter of minutes.
in a matter of minutes, a helicopter comes, then the hose pipes are targeted exactly. We are
And like
still
in
Talk
the
about
case of
reporting
City
technology.
House,
technology. Yes, we have done some improvement as we buy these second-hand things, as we get donations.
No. I'm talking about
sometimes, but
reporting technology where
Even yeah.
if I'm in Ntinda and fire brigade office and there is a fire outbreak in Nakawa or even on Ginger Road, they don't have to first move. Someone just has to like the report is instant, and they receive a notification, and immediately whoever is close by, whichever office is close by, they are set to move.
Now, Chantal, this brings another question. In countries like the United States, you're going to find fire stations in different areas. What I understand is that fire stations are not necessarily owned by the government. So there are suggestions by people that probably people can be given the right to have fire stations whose job is to put out fires at a fee, but maybe would that be a viable suggestion? And also, what problems would we encounter with an initiative like that? Because at least we know police would respond and it is free. So where someone has to make a payment first, I don't know how that would play out.
Someone is going to sit down and assess how often do we get these fires.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they will assess, is it, this is layman, is it really necessary to put someone on a salary of a month and they spend a month without doing anything?
Though what I understand is also that fire stations don't only handle fire situations. We've had situations of a man is on top of Mabiri's Plaza, they want to, you know, throw themselves down. And these are incidents where they come in. Rescue babies
I know of
and
two
whatnot.
companies in Uganda that are doing one. We have one along Entebbe Road, a place called Reza. If on the main road, it's a private entity. You go into a contract with it, your insurance. You have the Fire Masters, Uganda. There's a private entity. So I know of two, but I want to believe there could even be more. So you get in partnership with them. That in case of eventuality, because where we are heading, insurance and safety is paramount.
Also, Chirabo, you talked about all these things that sometimes hinder police from coming to the rescue of those that need them in case of a fire. But can we talk about turnaround time? Because in the case of the Budo fire, it is alleged that the turnaround time contributed to the massive, spread of the fire, because apparently police came late.
Well, like I said, there are many factors that make police come late.
Let's calculate the distance from where police...
include one, reporting time. And these Ugandans should take very serious. I personally am speaking from an area or time where I've covered. You go to these fires, have been old enough to witness some of these and report them. But they will tell you, what time did this fire start? What time did the police fire brigade get a call of the fire? And I told you, for a fire, 5 minutes is big time.
That's true.
Now, away from reporting, the structure of our roads also becomes a problem. You can say this happened at night, but the roads you're driving through, sometimes the jam, but also sometimes the nature of fire. What am I talking about that? What do I mean? You go to a place, it has mattresses, it has blankets.
Like backyard, there were clothes.
Backyard, they are highly flammable, you know? When you look at this DP office, this city house building, a bar has liquor. You have a lodge there. There are mattresses, there are whatever.
Even the textile.
You have
the textile.
Yes.
You know, then you have stationery shops.
Yes.
So
but can we also talk about the fact that the place was highly crowded?
That is very true, because now that means that when you talk about damage and you talk about injury, definitely people would be highly injured. But also, do you know that to put out fire, not everything puts out fire. For example, you can't put out fire caused by electricity using water. You get it. It has to be a different, say maybe carbon dioxide or any other form that you're going to use to put out the fire. So in this case, also assess what aside from the equipment, what is readily available to fire brigade for them to be able to put out the fire.
Well, one thing I know with fire brigade is they're well knowledgeable. Equipment would be the problem. And they work in, I've seen fires by electricity. One time there was a fire at Nasa Road.
Yes.
And it was as a result. So Umeme came in. They co-worked together. But also, I don't want to excuse certain people, certain institution. KCCA. You people. I'm afraid when I look at the way petrol stations are mushrooming in this city. There's a certain
There is
company,
a name
I don't want
that
to
I won't mention.
Soon we'll wake up in our compounds
there
is
a
that
one
petrol station
that's
being
true.
with you. Now, KCC has gotten away from looking at the issue of safety in licensing. Remember, for KCC has focused on collecting money, but not factoring in issues of fire safety.
Well, let's look at some of the comments coming through, and this one says, talking about fire prevention, there is an urgent need to train and sensitize the occupants or the kitchen workers on how to prevent different types of fires. For example, fire from electricity, flammable liquids and solids. Majority of them do not know this. Research indicates that even students of Makerere University in hostels in slums are also in great danger of fire. For fire outbreak, there is need for a proactive, not reactive solution. And this one says, hi, the original electricity equipment should be used. Continue teaching the public on fire risk factors. And this one says, good morning, Pano, my favorite. May the good Lord bless you. Thank you. And this one says, but we should credit the builders of those buildings. If they had burglars, we could have seen many deaths. That's how buildings in town settings should be. I will also commend that at least they could break windows and people were able to be, gotten out. Because in the fire that happened in Masaka at Kasana Primary School, they were not able to save those pupils because the windows had burglars.
Which the ministry burnt years ago.
Exactly, and schools are still doing that.
Burglars.
But burglars are even in our homes. Imagine a fire in your home. Do you know that if it caught the living room and you're in the bedroom, you may not be able to come out because
unless if you have an exit somewhere or something.
Now, for a home, I can excuse them. But you see, when constructing these commercial buildings,
yes,
there are guidelines. This building had no fire assembly point, leave alone sensitizing people. Extinguishers are a must. People must know that these are emergency exits. I've gone to buildings and the emergency exit is locked.
Well, we should have emergency exits. We should have assembly points.
When you're licensing these businesses, have in your mind a fire guidelines. But you license a bar, you license funny people cooking with the charcoal stoves on a flat.
Well, Chirabo, really that's all the time we have for this conversation, but we need to take heed as people who use these buildings and the people that construct these buildings. KCCA, you've been called out, so we hope that something is done. And of course, there needs to be immense sensitization when it comes to fires in buildings for the tenants and the building owners. You're still watching Good Morning Uganda. Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express is coming up next.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
In Uganda too. Are you guys okay?
In Uganda, East Africa, that is Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and DRC. Well, in the travel news, today, the State Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Honorable Mugara Martin, has encouraged the business community operating in Uganda and DRC to cooperate with the security organs to fight against the ADF. The minister was commissioning Eli Peak Hotel in Imponde town, and he said that the president is committed at ensuring that the security is guaranteed in this community, and he says that in case of any insecurity, in case the committee members see any insecurity, they should talk to the authority immediately. He called upon the committee members to report and work together with the security organs to see that they fight against ADF. And on this point, and on the point of wild animals in Queen Elizabeth conflicting with the humans, he said that the government, the ministry, has secured some funds to construct an electric fence. The Minister of Kampala City, Chofa Togabe Kabuye, also said that the business community should not fragment their businesses among the children. And the State Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, encouraged the Congolese to invest more in Uganda to see that we develop this community. In other travel news, last week on Saturday, we had the first wildlife concert in Uganda. This wildlife concert was for conservation. It was held at National Theatre. It was organized by 256, Ambassador UG, and this wildlife concert was aimed at conservation, and they were looking at having entertainment together with conservation. How do we merge entertainment to communicate, to create awareness about conservation? I think this is a beautiful thing, that entertainment goes to a wider audience. So many people would want to attend music concerts, would want to listen to music, and if this music has the right information about conservation, you find that the conservation message goes to a wider audience. And if there is better collaboration between the entertainment industry and the conservation bodies, it is very easy for us to create more awareness about conservation and also pass out any information that we would want to talk about conservation. Well, there is this destination that every time that I've been to it, I've been mesmerized. It leaves me in awe. I'll be like, wow, what? See the beauty that nature can create. See the beauty that Uganda has. And what beats my mind is that some of the Ugandans, actually most of the Ugandans, have not been to these places. Like, how do you feel to be proud of your country when you've not seen the beauty that resides in it? And this place is Sempaya Hot Springs. Today we explore these hot springs and take you around the beautiful myths about them, the beautiful stories about them. And that is the place that you're seeing on your screen. And Sempaya Hot Springs are found in Semuliki National Park, and I should say that these are the most attractive activity or in that place. Like, this is the most visited destination in Semuliki National Park, as well as the park has different attractions like the birds, the forest, animals, but this is what is most visited in this park. And Sempaya Hot Springs are the largest hot springs in Uganda. Like, you cannot find anywhere else such big hot springs in the country. Those are the largest. Something about Sempaya Hot Springs, as much as science also explained their formation, the biogeographical formation of the hot springs, also the people that stay around Sempaya Hot Springs also have their beautiful story behind them. And Sempaya, the word came from Sehemu Mbaya. This is a Swahili word, and the Swahili word means that difficult side, because of the challenges that came up when they are constructing the fourth port of Undibujo Road. That is why they said that difficult side, because of the Rwenzori ranges. The hot springs are located at the border of Ituri, at the edge of Ituri forest, that is also bordering Uganda and DRC, and also at the ranges of Mountain Rwenzori. And the story behind these hot springs is quite interesting. The local people that stay around the hot springs are called the Bamaga people, and to them, these are ancestral grounds. To them, they say, the story is, sometime back, the Bamaga women went to fetch firewood in the forest. And as they were fetching firewood, they saw a strange man. He was very hairy, and he was holding a spear, dressed in black cloth, and he had a dog, and he was hunting. So when they went back to tell their husbands about this man, the husbands came and got this man. They took them into their community, got him a home, got him a wife, and they named him Bitete. So later, after like 3 years, Bitete still went to hunt because he still continued with hunting. So when he went to hunt in the forest this time round, he never came back. And after 3 days, they went to look for Bitete, but Bitete wasn't found anywhere. All they found was the spear, his spear. And then to them they said Bitete disappeared at the point where the male hot springs are, and that is why those are the male hot springs. And there is a shrine at the male hot springs because people here believe that their ancestral gods can give them prosperity, wealth, if they sacrifice into that shrine. The female hot spring as well came as when the wife was told that the husband Bitete has disappeared. He went to the forest to look for him, and she also disappeared at the point where the female hot springs are. And that is how the story comes up, that we have the male hot springs and the female hot springs. However, when you visit this place, I've been to some saunas around Kampala, and of course for us to go to these cheap ones that we can afford, but I've not seen a natural bath, a natural sauna, steaming. You go for a natural steaming that is salty. This place, when you look at the place, the beauty around the colors, because salt forms around the springs, and the algae around the forest, it is amazing. Like, you need to be at this place. You need to visit Sempaya Hot Springs. But the national park is also a bird's haven. That is how they call it, because it is actually the best birding destination in Uganda. If you want to see birds around Uganda, Semuliki National Park is the place. And so if you're planning to explore anywhere in Uganda, Semuliki National Park, specifically Sempaya Hot Springs, is the place for you to go. I won't dwell so much on that. Our travel tip today is quite simple. For you who is planning to travel around Uganda, to explore Uganda or anywhere in East Africa, the travel tip is get to know the local customs before you go to that place. It will be so disrespectful or heartbreaking if you went to Gaddafi Mosque putting on a skimpy dress. But if you made more research before going to the destination and knowing how are their customs, you'd know if you're visiting a mosque, you have to go dressed decently in a long dress, you have to veil. Yeah. So make some research about the customs before you visit these destinations. That is what we had for you. I'm Irene Alena Misango. Catch you tomorrow, same time. This is the GMU Tourism Express. Thank you.
Good morning again, and many thanks for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. It is time for us to get into the GMU business updates this morning. But before that, Alan was mentioning something about the empire. Say I did have the opportunity to go there. I did ask you, Offset, whether that is where River Semuliki is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know, the most interesting part of it is the fact that I did have to enjoy eggs that were boiled at the hot springs. So I think that is something every Ugandan would definitely want to experience once they're there. Are there any conspiracy theories about taking, you know, having eggs prepared within the hot springs? We was actually told that once you are in there and you eat them, sometimes the gods may not be happy.
No, actually, when you go there, I think the gods are happy that we even use their resources that they've given us. Okay. Actually, you can even cook, you can boil the bananas
from the hot springs,
and they get ready. And you have them, so you're served with boiled eggs and boiled bananas, and you're good for your lunch.
And obviously, when you reach around the hot springs, by the way, you'll still feel this the scent of boiled eggs, surprisingly, simply because every tourist who goes there is always trying to boil the eggs to see how effective the hot springs are. But otherwise, thank you very much, Alan.
You're welcome.
And well, speaking of boiling things now, let's talk about frying things instead. The Ensenene dealers have been asked by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards to seek for regulation of the standards of the grasshoppers they are selling. How about that to start off our business update this morning? The Uganda National Bureau of Standards has asked the edible insects dealers to undergo certification as a measure to ensure the safety of their products for public consumption. Now, the remarks came through the December 11th, 2023 press summit, where the regulatory body reminds the general public of their duty to exercise the vigilance when purchasing edible insects for consumption. Now, UNBS emphasizes the importance of reporting traders suspected of dealing in substandard edible insects or engaging in dubious harvesting, processing, packaging and transportation practices. So according to UNBS, this is in line with the UNBS mandate of developing, promoting and enforcing standards in protection of public health, protection and promotion of public health and safety, and the environment against dangerous and substandard products, according to the statement that was released by UNBS. So this is ideally something that all those dealers in Ensenene, which have actually flooded Kampala as we speak now, because there are quite many on the market if you go out there and you're looking for them, though they arrived late, but they finally arrive. I should use that word. All right, now as we speak matters business. Furthermore, let's talk the issues to do with cooperatives in the country, as the new implementation of the parish development model and the Myoga circles posed a challenge to district and urban commercial officers since most of them had no prior background training on the cooperative's management, through which this particular money goes directly, because the government, through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, is passing this money directly into the SACCOs for those beneficiaries of the parish development model and, of course, the EMIOGA. Now, besides that, the skilling for district commercial officers, the State Minister for Cooperatives, Fred Gume, did encourage the officers to take on the task to ensure that Ugandans get to understand how the cooperatives operate and how they can easily get this particular money and make good use of it. But besides that, the Uganda Cooperative Alliance and central government are further skilling commercial officers on the new modalities in the supervision criteria and process of the SACCOs, starting with Mbarara for Western region, Fort Portal for the Midwestern region, and then also Gulu for Northern, Mbale for Eastern and Central, for Buganda, Busoga regions, and of course yesterday at the Esela Country Hotel in Nigeria. Well, lastly, from business, let's talk fishing. As the UPDF Fisheries Protection Unit under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Mase Tukahira conducted an operation to curb the use of illegal fishing gear by the fishermen. The operation conducted on Lake Victoria saw over 90 fishermen arrested. The Fisheries Protection Unit Commander Kamaliba landing site, that is Captain Jacob Obo, did reveal that the fishermen at Lake Victoria had started using the illegal fishing gear on different lakes in the country. Obo added that the arrested people will be charged and prosecuted. He further appealed to the fishermen who are still engaging in illegal fishing and dealing in immature fish to stop. Now, in this particular operation, if you are to look at it, it at least had over 30 boat engine, boat fuel tanks and fishing nets that have so far been impounded in the same situation, because the Fisheries Protection Unit is to ensure that at least the fishing gear that is being used does not harm or damage the water body, as well as eliminating or preventing the fishing of premature fish off or out of Lake Victoria. Now, lastly, let's look at the Forex market close of business Monday evening. As you're heading into the Forex market to exchange some currencies this morning, how will you find the market so far? Let's get into what the various currencies were yesterday. The US dollar opened at 3,766.38 for those buying, while selling was at 3,776.38. And then by midday, buying was 3,790.13 Ugandan shillings. Then selling was 3,800 Ugandan shillings. Looking further to the closing time, the US dollar was buying at 3,809.63. while selling at 3,819.63 shillings. The Great Britain pound on the other side was buying at 4,776.89, while selling was at 4,789.43. The euro buying was at 4,102.20, while selling was at 4,112.97 shillings. Then the Kenyan shilling was buying at 24.84, while selling at 24.90. The Tanzanian shilling 1.52 for those buying and 1.52 for those selling. And then the South African rand was buying at 200.41 Ugandan shillings, while selling at 200.93 Ugandan shillings. So that's how you'll definitely find the markets by the time you get into any Forex bureau this morning. That has been courtesy of the Bank of Uganda, giving us the latest from the Forex trends. And well, that's it for the business news this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you more from the world of business. It's a festive season kind of situation, so you need to tap into every opportunity that arises for the business world. Now, coming up shortly is the traffic updates with Olive Monica Najuma. Stick around.
Well, it is a beautiful morning. Thank you so much for keeping with us here on Good Morning Uganda. Here is the time where we give you traffic updates. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, we hope that you can find your route steadily. Now, if you're coming from the areas of Kawala, Kasubi, Nasa, and Namungona, heading to the areas of Nakulabye and of course through to Bakuli, this is the route we are looking at this very morning. Now, looking at Kawala Road, a few moments ago there was intense traffic around this area, but from what I'm seeing right now, it has lit up as Kawala joins Hoima Road, and of course Chimera Road has also become green as opposed to a few moments ago, so there is smooth flow of traffic in this area. Now, of course, having a close look at Masiro Road that comes in from Masiro area in Kasubi, there is still smooth flow of traffic around this area. Now, moving along to Hoima Road into the areas of Nankulabye, I'm seeing a smooth flow of traffic, but around this corner, this should be the corner shortly after the Masiro in Kasubi, there is intense traffic that has built up that goes on up to the traffic lights in the middle of Nankulabye. So for those going to the areas of Balintuma Road, there is smooth flow of traffic here, and of course smooth flow of traffic from Motesa 1 Road. Now, if you're heading to the areas of Wandegea from Nankulabye using Makere Hill Road, there is a smooth flow of traffic over there up until you reach the intersection around Full Gospel Church, where you will experience a little bit of traffic. I think this is mainly caused by the traffic light. But going back to Hoima Road, there is smooth flow of traffic in some areas, but as you join that intersection that comes in from Sa Apollo Kagwa Road, joining Hoima Road, you're going to experience some bit of traffic, both from Sa Apollo Kagwa Road area and from Hoima Road if you're coming from the areas of Nankulabye. Now, I see that if you're heading to Chadondo Road, there is some traffic that is starting to build up over there. But of course, moving ahead with the Hoima Road, there is smooth flow of traffic largely in most areas, and Salo Salo Road looks good. So for those coming from there, you should be able to move steadily. Now, as we approach the traffic lights at Namirembe Road, or what you'd want to call Bakuli, I see orange lines that have built up here, meaning that traffic is now slow in this area as traffic jam is starting to build up in this area. Now, having a look at Fort Road, some areas of Fort Road are all yellow, as you can see on your screen, and of course, as you move ahead to that area that has Lohana Academy, you're going to find that there is traffic there. And of course, looking at the other side of Namirembe Road, you're going to see that there is still some traffic jam that is building up, and it is joining Old Kampala Road. Now, of course, as we look at Namirembe Road, we are starting to see red zones that have built up, and of course, some of these are coming in from Rubaga Road, and others are coming in from Mwanga 2 Road as we slope down on that road. Mwanga Road still has orange lines that have built up, especially for those that are trying to join Namirembe Road. Now, some sections of Namirembe Road are green, indicating smooth flow of traffic, but then when we decide to move along Namirembe Road, now we encounter a red zone. This red zone indicates traffic jam that has built up all across Namirembe Road, and it doesn't let up until you reach the intersection which joins Makere Road and Martin Road and Namirembe Road. Now, from Martin Road, if that's the route you're using, there is an orange zone over there which is indicative of a slow traffic in that section. Actually, some parts of Martin Road have a red zone indicative of a traffic jam around that area. But now, where Martin Road joins Makere Road, we see that the biggest section of Makere Road is in either an orange zone or a red zone, so the flow of traffic in this area is rather slow. Now, when we go back to where these roads meet Namirembe Road, there is even a deepened red zone zone, meaning the traffic in this area now is extremely intense. But of course, as we see other roads that feed into Namirembe Road, like Kafumbe Mukasa, we still see red zones coming through on both sides of the road. There is a red zone and an orange zone, meaning there is no, you cannot be fast in this area. The traffic is intense. Still following Namirembe Road, there is still a red zone over here up until when you reach this intersection that joins the Namirembe Road to Allen Road and of course Sebana Road. Now here we are in the Nachivubo area, and as you can see, there isn't a smooth flow of traffic here in this area. It's usually busy. There are trucks offloading goods, others taking off, so it explains why we may be experiencing this traffic in this area. Now continuing ahead to Loom Street, we are seeing some green zones and red zones over here. Loom Street is supposed to be a motor-free zone, so I don't understand why we have red zones in this area. But having a look at William Street as well, there is a traffic jam that has caught up here, and of course it's coming in through from these other roads like Button Street, which joins William Street at that section that also goes to Wilson Road. And of course when you look at William Street further, there are some green zones indicative of smooth flow of traffic up until when you join Duster Street, which looks okay. But then when it feeds into Kampala Road, we experience some zones that have traffic jam along Kampala Road. And of course I see orange zones over there. So what it means overall is that on Kampala Road, the traffic jam may not be intense, but it is there. So if you are the type that waits for the last minute to set off, this can set you back for that appointment that you are going for. But other areas like Uganda Road look pretty fine, save for a few orange zones here and there, but nothing to worry about, except once you cross over Buganda Road and you're about to join Shimon Road, there you're going to experience traffic jam in this area. The Square 2 Road is looking good as of this morning, so if you're going that side, you're good to go. And of course Peak Road has a green zone, which it shows that there is smooth flow of traffic. Nile Avenue looks good, so you should be able to move steadily in these areas. Well, that's all we have for you this morning in the traffic updates. As I usually say, drive and be vigilant. I know we are excited about the festive season, but if you are to drink, please don't drive. Have a designated driver. You must have that friend that doesn't drink. So please buy them drinks, let them drive you, and ensure that you're safe. You're still watching Good Morning Uganda. Agenda is up next.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Yes, dear viewers, I'm Venerable Reverend Canon Captain Esau Omare John. I hailed from northern Uganda, especially Diocese of West Lango, and my place of work, the Archdeaconry of Otual. I have been asked to present the sermon, a brief sermon on the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. You may wonder why people are eating, people are feasting, people are buying decent dresses and what have you. It is all about the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. What is Christmas? Christmas is a commemoration of the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. We celebrate the good news that has been sent to us by God. Celebrating the birth of Christ puts us, our feet, to the Christian journey. And the following are the reasons why we celebrate the Christmas. One, in celebrating the Christmas, we recognize God's love to humanity. Then two, we also recognize God, Christ, who has come to meet humanity at their point of needs. He has come to carry salvation to all men. And the spreading of joy is about the celebration of the Christmas. And Christmas is a period whereby the kingdom of God should be expanded through the gifts. It is also the sharing of all that we have with the loved ones and those who are suffering. It is also the giving that is a privilege to be owned or taken by the destitute. That one is also found in the book of Matthew chapter 25 verse 31 to 46. As I come almost to an end, the Lord invites us to see Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God is with us. He is living with his people. He is in the suffering of his people, but has a solution to the problem of those people. This too is a high opening to our eyes that the Son is born. That when he is born, and today we share everything that we have with those who need them. Christmas is marked by the family coming together. We must come together. We must teach our children to know in God. And lastly, which is not least, as I come to an end, lastly, which is not least, and above all, the Christmas celebration should not push us away to know the gist of the matter. Jesus came so that all of us should get saved, and all of us should now know the mission he came from and the destiny that is coming from. Therefore, that is to say, all who follow Jesus and Christ, they have a journey to heaven. May the good Lord bless us all, and I promise that the Holy Spirit will guide you and help you to carry out a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you so much. I'm Canon Esau Omare John. Thank you.
Junko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret? Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM? Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk. No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving. Junko, I thought I was one of your friends. You are, but you left me behind. I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, Just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitoro, but just a humble reminder that we are always here from 6:30. The mighty four, they're here and they kickstart your day with a lot of laughter, yet very informative way of kickstarting your day, because you're able to know what is happening locally, you're able to know what is happening internationally, and of course we wash off the stress of the night, no matter how heavy it was or pressing it is, so you can't afford to miss us every morning from 6:30. Now, in this particular segment of the show, we usually have a guest or guests with whom we discuss issues of national importance. Now, this morning, we are going to be discussing skilling and capacity enhancement of commercial officers. You know, we have these officers at districts, we have them, and their main aim is to see various government programs, how they can be perfected, most of those that involve monies, and we all know that government releases monies only through a cooperative model. Many of you call it circles, and you forget that circles are a form of cooperatives. So Uganda Cooperative Alliance embarked on a journey to sensitize, to educate commercial officers to enhance their capacity and build skills on how best to do their work through the cooperative model. And I'm joined by Ivan Asimwe, who is the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. You're most welcome to the show. Good morning.
Pleasure being here. Good morning, our viewers. Good morning, all Ugandans. I'm happy to be here, and I'm always grateful. I love UBC, and I appreciate the board and management of UBC for giving us this time to educate Ugandans, to share as cooperators. I thank you.
Now, to begin with, when we talk about skills and capacity enhancements of commercial officers, Ivan, what exactly is Uganda Cooperative Alliance doing?
Thank you so much. Uganda Cooperative Alliance, being the umbrella body for all registered cooperative societies in the country. And currently, when we talk about the registered cooperatives, we mean those cooperatives that are now over 45,000. There are so many. And they fall in all sectors of the economy. Talk about financial cooperatives, these are circles. Agricultural production and marketing, like the Bugisu, those unions, Bugisu, Masaba, Chibinge, East Acholi, West Acholi, Banyankole, so many. Talk about energy, talk about transport, talk about housing, talk about water and environment. So there are so many, and moving from the primary up to the apex level, where the primary societies are formed by individuals, then you move to the secondary level, which are formed by primary societies, then the tertiary, and then from there, when you combine the secondary cooperatives and the tertiary cooperatives, then you form Uganda Cooperative Alliance, which is the apex body. Now, before I come to that, Mr. Chirabu, I want to thank the government of the Republic of Uganda for really adopting the cooperative model, because this is the only model that will take us to the promised land. Forget about the other models. The other talk about capitalism. Capitalism will not help this country why capitalism supports a few at the expense of majority. And this is what the colonialists want, because for them they know they are head of Africa. So they will always champion a model that will favor them. A model where their own companies will come and exploit us. So the only model that will liberate this country and Africa in general is the cooperative model. Because the cooperative model is the one that the Europeans have used to develop their economies, the Americans have used, the Chinese, the Koreans, globally all these economies that have grown, they use the cooperative model at home. But when they come here, they teach us capitalism. So they have their cooperatives which are very strong. Take an example of Netherlands. You will find in Netherlands, Friesland Campina is a direct cooperative, but has formed multinational companies, and they are operating in over 140 countries. So outside, they are taken to be companies, but at home, they are cooperatives. So they make money, and then they bring the money back to their economies, and the cooperators share this money. So based on the same model, I can't really fail to thank the government, because the government has seen this is the best model, and for us as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, which is the apex body, we really feel that this is something that we must give credit. Now, you cannot have a cooperative model working very well without the foot soldiers. And the foot soldiers in this case are the commercial officers. So the commercial officers are local government staff at the district level. And in this case, we are talking about the district commercial officer, the principal commercial officer, the senior commercial officer, and the other staff within the Department of Trade, Tourism, and Local Development Services. So this is a whole department at the district. And these are people whose role is to nurture, grow, support, strengthen businesses at the district level. And among these businesses are cooperatives. Can you see? These are cooperatives, circles, and all other types and forms of cooperatives. However, we carried out a research as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and we actually discovered that the majority of these staff have not been oriented in the cooperative model. Why? Because you see, previously, some people ask, why is it that the cooperatives previously were stronger than to date? In the olden days, it was a policy that if you are to work with the cooperatives like the former cooperative officers, it was a policy that you must undergo a cooperative course in Chigumba. Why? We come from different backgrounds. Now, I have done the social sciences, but here I'm supposed to support, train cooperatives, but I don't have the requisite skills and knowledge. So ideally, these people should be undergoing such courses so that they really understand. You see, government is focusing on cooperatives through different programs. The parish development model, where they are talking of the PDM circle. They are talking about the Myoga circles. All of these are cooperatives. But have you trained these people for them to clearly understand that these are cooperatives, and hence cooperatives need to operate based on the values and the principles? This is what we are doing as Uganda Cooperative.
Now that well said, that now you've embarked on training of these officers, what is entailed in this training? Because we know that we have a number of districts and we have a number of commercial officers in these districts. And importantly, like my guest said, government of Uganda, if it is to do anything regarding poverty eradication, poverty alleviation, it is using the cooperative model where we are seeing circles, the parish development circles. When you move all over the country, that is pillar 3 of the parish development model, financial inclusion. Government is not giving money to individuals. It's looking at ensuring that the 39% of Ugandans who are out of the money economy are brought into the money economy through a circle model. Now, when you look at various programs under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, still you will see that they all entail the circle way of doing things. But important to note is that At the end of the day, the foot soldiers must be well knowledgeable of the circles. And much as we began by what is actually happening, it is very important for people to understand what are cooperatives. When we talk about cooperatives, many will tell you the good old days of cooperatives. Many will look at agricultural sector alone. You see Bugisu, Chibinge, Abanyankole Kweterana, all these. But at the end of the day, what are cooperatives?
Thank you so much, moderator. A cooperative ideally means an autonomous association.
Now simplify.
Persons, yes.
Let's go slow. An autonomous.
Meaning it is independent.
Okay.
It's independent. You don't need to force me or Chirabo to join. It's autonomous. An autonomous association where people come together of persons united voluntarily, nobody forces you. It is independent and people join willingly, free entry and free exit. Of persons united voluntarily to meet their social, cultural, economic, social needs and aspirations. That means you sit together as media people and you ask yourselves, what is it that we want? You are so many in this country. I don't know how many media persons you are in the country. And you have 1,000 now.
Yes.
Now, these 1,000 media personnel, do you know that you have the capacity to start a bank in this country? So that is when now you sit within your meeting and ask yourselves, like we did for accountants. I'm a chartered accountant, a member of the Institute of the Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. One day we were at Hotel Africana, and I posed the question to my fellow accountants. Accountants are not poor people. We have money. So the question was, where is our money? Number two, we are experts in financial management. Why are we managing other people's money that we cannot manage our own money? So based on that, we now sat down and said, we need to have a circle. A circle where I can easily save my money, and I can access a loan that is affordable and appropriate. We went on and formed a circle. Now our circle is very big that you can even borrow up to 200 million an individual. Yes. So you can see the power of cooperation. We are all there struggling. We asked ourselves, where is our money? I did finance. You did ACCA. You did CPA. You are certified. 5 years doing ACCA, plus 3 years university, plus 6 years secondary, 7 years primary. But you are still donating money to someone. Can't you use your brain and you consolidate your money? This is why we did finance. So based on that, we said, no, enough is enough. We formed our circle. Now the circle is big. So that is a cooperative where you voluntarily come together with a common agenda, social, cultural, economic needs and aspirations. Through a jointly owned, you all own it. And democratically controlled enterprise. Democratic control is where you have the power to elect your own leadership. There is nobody who is going to be imposed on you as a board. You sit together, elect your board, elect your supervisory board, and the vetting committee. That's the definition. And the cooperative ideally is based on 4 pillars. It is owned by the members, me and you and others. It is our thing. We own it. It is controlled. We control it because we have put in money. We have bought shares. We are savers in a circle. If it is Chibinge coffee, we bring in our coffee. We aggregate our coffee together and export it and make money. Then you use it, and then finally you benefit from this cooperative. That is the summary of what a cooperative means. Now, this is what most Ugandans lack. Most Ugandans think that a cooperative is set up to get money, free money. You can imagine these days, you hear people saying, let us start a circle. There is a certain donor who has promised us money. That is not a circle. That is not a cooperative. I want listeners to hear this. That is not a cooperative. You do not form a cooperative targeting free money from donors. A cooperative is formed because you have a social, economic agenda. There is a problem that you want to solve together. You are coffee farmers. You want to aggregate your coffee and access the market. You grow maize, but you have been exploited for long. You want it. You are professionals. You are lawyers. You want to, but you want to provide high quality legal services to the population. You sit together and form a very huge legal firm. That is a cooperative.
Ivan, that said, we have a very funny situation that most of the cooperatives in this country are formed on the wrong foundation, if I'm to go by your explanation. Now you're having district commercial officers. What is it that you want them to do? We must be very honest. Today I've had very many people, including very key politicians in this country, move around, tell people PDM money is there. Form circles and get money. We had the Youth Livelihood Fund. Government has billions of money seated there. Here you are crying of poverty. Form circles, get money. And we've had a challenge when it comes to payback. Some after getting the money, then they will tell you they were thanking us, remember the Ntandikwa, for electing His Excellency. Others after getting the money, some politicians tell them, it is your taxpayers' money, eat that money. So much water has gone under the bridge. So what do we do?
First of all, I think Ugandans have not fully internalized the parish development model. And that's why we are having challenges. When you look at the design of the model, the design is okay. However, the biggest challenge possibly was lack of consultation, consulting people who understand the cooperative model. That is where possibly the problem emanated. Because for you to talk about cooperatives, you need to understand them. You need to understand the cooperative ideology. Why do people cooperate? If we are in this studio seated, if a lion entered here, and you said, Ivan, don't run away, let us cooperate and kill this lion. That is cooperation. But if I just tell the Chirabo, you know what? There is something here, there is a donor. Yesterday I talked to a donor and he has promised me money. Let's form and very fast we go and grab it. It will not be sustainable. So the biggest challenge is that Ugandans have not fully internalized the PDM model, but when you have to look at the design, looking at the document itself, and if we were to implement based on that document, surely we would have results. So Ugandans, whenever we are developing such models, let's consult. Let's consult Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We have been there since 1961. I have been in the cooperatives for 21 years, having grown from the cashier of a circle up to general secretary. Even if I did not study, but I have the practical experience. I can really guide you. I can say here is right, here is wrong. Let's do it like this, such that we have something that is practical. Now, but when still you read through this model, looking at the 7 pillars of the parish development model, it's so fantastic. However, people have now forgotten about the other 6. They are all focusing on pillar 3, saying, where is the money? Which is a misconception. And therefore, as a government, much as you are giving this money to every parish, let's invest a lot in capacity building. Change, in fact, attitude change or mindset change would have been in pillar number 1. Because the problem of Uganda and Africa in general is not that God did not give us wealth. We are the richest continent on this earth, but with the poor people, unfortunately. Why? The problem is the mindset, the attitude. We continue to donate our wealth. Can you imagine you donate your wealth and the recipient, instead of appreciating you, calls you a beggar? This is something that we must work on. I am exporting my coffee, you get more money, I remain poor, then you call me a beggar, assuming I closed the tap, and I say I'm stopping exporting my coffee. How do you survive? How will you survive also? How will you survive? So in other words, the PDM is a good model. However, government invests a lot in capacity building. Let us build the capacities, not only the commercial officers, but let us engage parliament, let policymakers, let us engage all politicians at all levels, let us engage the implementers, because we really, and also the beneficiaries. You know, people are not even aware that you are supposed to get, before you get this money, you must have an enterprise. You must have your cash flows, the inflows and the outflows. All of that, people are not aware. That's why you hear someone who has gotten money and has gone to marry the third wife. Someone who has gotten money, he slept in a bar for 1 week. He could not even realize. So all the money is done. Why? People have not been prepared. So we need to invest money in this capacity building. And that is why, given the support of government, because we prepared, we requested the government for support in this area. I'm very happy to inform the whole country that the government supported the Uganda Cooperative Alliance with a subvention, and part of this subvention is to build the capacities or enhancing the skills and the capacities of the commercial officers. Why commercial officers? These are the foot soldiers on the ground at district level, and these are people who are going to support us implement PDM, Emyoga, and other government programs. Now, which areas are we focusing on?
Even before you go to which areas you're focusing on, we have pictures of some of these trainings, but what regions are you covering? Are you going to cover the entire country? Is the training, have you reached halfway? Is it done? So just give us a scope so that my commercial officer watching somewhere gets to know exactly, have they been part of this? Something like that, even before we go to what areas you're focusing at.
Very fantastic. We started with Western Uganda in Mbarara, and we covered it. We went for Potro, that is Midwestern. We have been to Guru for northern, the entire West Nile, Lango and Acholi sub-regions, plus part of Bunyoro. Then we have covered the eastern region from Karamoja up, the extreme end, up to Busoga region, that is covered. We are now in the central. The training started yesterday. It was officially opened by the Minister of State for Cooperatives, Honorable Gume. And most interestingly, wherever we have been with our members of parliament. So the members, I want to thank the Parliament of Uganda. We have a very good parliament, a parliament that is passionate, a parliament that is focusing on the socio-economic transformation of this country using the cooperative model. And very interestingly, in all these regions, because we are now finishing, because we are ending tomorrow with this region, central region. Central region, we are covering the entire Buganda region and the part of Busoga, which is closer to Buganda, and also some other districts that are closer to Buganda, because we wanted, people are so many. In total, we have met over 400. You can imagine, and that is not enough, because in a district, we are picking 2 people, but there are more. But of course, it has budget implication. So in a district, we are picking two people. Then in cities, also 2. Then in municipalities, 1. But we intend to increase the numbers because there are so many. Here we should be looking at almost close to 1,000 people. And everybody is willing. Now, from that experience, given the fact that we have covered the whole country, commercial officers really attest to this. They really confirmed that yes, they were recruited, but they did not go through this orientation process. And yet they play a very critical role in implementing these government programs. So that one shows to us that a lot is needed in terms of capacity building. The other issue that came out vividly is the issue of facilitation. Commercial officers are doing too much work on the ground, but they are not better facilitated. They don't have vehicles, they don't have motorcycles in some districts, and yet they need to cover the whole district. Take an example, if you're a commercial officer for Wakiso, from Entebbe up to this side, how do you expect a person to move? So in order for them to effectively and efficiently deliver, they need facilitation in terms of infrastructure, in terms of funding. So these ones came out very vividly. The other issue that came out vividly is the issue of staffing, that they need a lot of staff because commercial officers are not only focusing on cooperatives, they are focusing on all businesses in the entire district. Talk about markets, talk about cooperatives, talk about investments, talk about capacity building, all that falls under the commercial officers. Now, with that, they need a lot of staffing. Because you see, if we were to really move this country forward, let's focus on business. Countries that have moved faster, they are focusing on businesses. We have a lot of people doing businesses, but we need people to nurture these businesses, to support the businesses, and all of this falls on the commercial officer.
Now that brings me to, in these trainings, what have you been giving to these commercial officers in terms of skills enhancement and capacity?
A lot has been done. First of all, the commercial officers to understand the cooperative ideology.
Okay.
Like I've mentioned earlier. Cooperative ideology, our viewers, is not something that you understand within an hour or a day. You need to really understand, you need to internalize it. What is a cooperative? What are the principles and the values? I will tell you, if I'm just running through very fast, the principles of cooperatives, the first one is voluntary and open membership. It means that cooperatives are voluntary. You enter and then open, there is no ceiling. Then the second one is democratic member control. These cooperators democratically elect their leaders, the board, the supervisory board, and the vetting committee. And even the board appoint their subcommittees in order for efficiency. Then economic member participation. When you are members of a circle, you all need to economically participate. You save, you access loans, you buy shares, pay membership, all that. That is principle number 3. Then you come to autonomy and independence, number 4. Cooperatives are autonomous and independent. What does it mean? They don't need influence, either political, either religious, or otherwise. They need to work independently. If we have our cooperative, then don't interfere with us. It's our business. We own it, we control it, we use it. Then you continue and go to education, training, and information. Members and all people concerned, they need that information. Members need to be told, like, you belong to Chibinge, assuming you're a member of Chibinge. They need to invite you for meetings and they give you reports. And you plan it together because this is your business. You need information, what has transpired, what does the market say. All of that information, you need it as a member. Then cooperation among cooperatives. It is also very critical. Principle number 6, where cooperatives don't compete. For example, Chibinge in coffee is supposed to cooperate with Ankole Coffee, Banyankole Kweterana, Bugisu, Rwenzori, Okoro Coffee, and others, so that they can now go into the market. Do you doubt competing? Cooperatives don't compete. And then lastly, number 7 is community concern. Cooperatives don't focus on cooperatives, but they focus on community transformation. That's why you see cooperatives, in cooperative reporting, we don't talk of profits. We talk of surplus. Why? Because you are not focused, you are not profit-oriented. Your orientation is service delivery to your members and the community. That's the beauty with the cooperatives. So all of that, the commercial officers need to know. Because some of them really confessed during these trainings that they had never heard about cooperatives, they had never heard about principles, but these are the supervisors. What do you do? So they confess that actually we have been there, but we are passing time. However, others are seniors, they have been there, but this training has really shown us, it has proved to us that as a government, we need to invest a lot. Even the members of parliament who have been moving with us, they have really, within their submissions, they have promised that as parliament, they are going to support the budget in ensuring that we put more resources in building the capacities of these people. Second, the other issue that we are focusing on is record keeping, financial accounting, and reporting. You know, moderator, I have told you I'm an accountant. But accountants, we don't study cooperatives.
What do you audit?
That is the question now. We don't study cooperatives.
You audit them as companies?
And yet we are supposed to audit them. So you audit something that you have not studied. I will tell you, CPI didn't study cooperatives. Can you imagine?
Yet a
you
cooperative
go to the lawyers,
is different from a company.
Go to the lawyers, just ask any of these lawyers in the city how many understand cooperatives. You can imagine, you go to a lawyer, let's say the cooperative has a dispute, very fast they run it to a lawyer, the lawyer files and goes to court, which is illegal because the law section 73 of the Cooperative Societies Act says that in a case of any dispute between a cooperative, a member, an officer, you do not go to court, but rather you go through arbitration. And the arbitration is very clearly defined in the law. Now, what has been happening when there is a dispute, let's say you're a cooperative, I'm a member, and we disagree, I brought my coffee and you are saying you didn't bring the coffee, then the lawyer very fast files and goes to court. Now, there is already a precedence, a ruling by Honorable Justice Andrew Basheja in Mbarara, 2nd of May 2010, which is very clear. It says, do not go to court if in the case of a dispute, goes through arbitration.
Now,
so
at this point, let me interject,
cases.
Ivan. Our viewers, you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply sending us a text message or a WhatsApp message on the number on your screen, which is popping up. Use that number to send me a text or a WhatsApp message, and I'll be reading it out. Now, I have one here. Good morning, Mr. Chirabo. What Mr. Asimwe, the Secretary General, is saying is very important. Mindset change of people has to be worked on. I am Okweri Stephen, Toro District. I like the discussion. The other one says, I wanted to inquire from Mr. Asimwe, how can I join the Cooperative Alliance? I'm currently viewing from Zana Road. I'm currently viewing from Zana Entebbe Road Airport. Well, thanks for the show. Zana is along Entebbe Road. Thank you so much for being part of it. Then many are saying we need to rebuild, we need to strengthen cooperatives. But let's first go with those two for now.
Thank you so much. I want to thank our viewers. It means Ugandans are really concentrating. You know, Ugandans love cooperatives because it is the cooperatives that are going to liberate us.
Many of them have those, I would like to call them, many of them have been educated, who are educated, based on cooperatives, the good old days that some people say of cooperatives, where if I am a farmer, I belong to a cooperative, I wouldn't worry about school fees because I would have taken my produce and then I have a receipt which would work at a school. Life was very interesting in one way or the other. So many of them, when you talk about cooperative, their minds run very back to those situations, how you would even present this. It was an equivalent of cash. You present it to a hospital, you present it to a school, but today you find that a farmer may have produce, they're seated there, their children are not going to school, and all that. So it quickly goes to the minds of people. However, they only look at one area, agricultural cooperatives. Yes.
You know, first, I want to thank the viewers for their response, and these are very good comments. It really proves to Ugandans that we love cooperatives. So, what do we, it's unfortunate that this young generation, they have not read, because they have not read the cooperatives, they don't really seem not to understand cooperatives better and how they operate. But when, like you are mentioning, when you ask people of the 60s, 1960s there, they have good stories to tell you. Even us, around the 1990s there, cooperatives were still operational. I went with my grandfather, I still remember that scenario. We went to a cooperative society, we took coffee, it was a society member of Wanyankole Petera. Now we took a coffee there, and he got a receipt. I still remember it was a receipt. And I asked him, Why haven't they given you money? We have taken our coffee, whole bag, and they are giving you this paper. And he told me, no, this is money. And he took this receipt, and it was discounted in the cooperative bank. So I really started loving cooperatives at a younger age. If you talk to these people, I have my uncle. He was educated through cooperatives. He's a very big person in the government. So he tells you the good stories of Kigezi Vegetable Growers Cooperative Union, where the father
are vegetables.
Yeah, where now the father would take vegetables, and even if they had not matured, you have just planted, but the son was going back to Kigezi High School, they would just, the society would give a cheat. Please admit, we shall pay. So there was nothing like you are dropping out of school. And the people were not exploited, because you know, once you start harvesting and selling through the society pays, and the school recovers the school fees. That was as good as that. And members, with this government, and the fact that the government has adopted the cooperative model, let us support. Forget about politics. We have wasted too much time in politics. Someone who comes here and you want to discuss politics all through. That's why I love UBC. Because UBC, you are giving us time to guide Ugandans on socio-economic transformation. Don't ask me about politics here. Because we like wasting too much. Yes, politics is good, but have time for politics and also have time for economic and social affairs. And this is what we are discussing. So, the cooperatives play a very critical role. Moderator, do you know that Germany, France, UK, Denmark, Netherlands, Brazil, Korea, Malaysia, Thailand, all these economies are based on cooperatives. My God, you go to Germany and see cooperatives at village level, these energy cooperatives, supplying electricity, supplying water, both warm and cold water, to homesteads. This is a cooperative. You come here in Uganda, look at the village, instead of cooperating to provide such services, people are just fighting each other, quarreling, such things. Ugandans, it is high time that we move forward. And this one can be done using a cooperative approach. You have talked about the receipt system. If you can talk to these people, for example, Nyakatonzi, they will tell you how they would bring cotton, and then you get a receipt, and this receipt was the cash equivalent. The child would take it to school, you take it to hospital, you take it to whichever. But we are heading there. Do you know why? Now Uganda has got the Uganda Warehouse Receipt System Authority. It has been revived. Now, this system authority is coming in to support cooperatives. Now we are in the digital era. They have acquired the system such that when you bring your coffee to Chiringe like this, immediately they enter in the system. The system will generate a receipt for you. Very fast, the banks will see that Shirabo has brought 1 ton of coffee. Then buyers will see everybody. Now, meaning that you can walk with this receipt. You go to a bank like Centenary or whichever bank, and they are, very fast they will discount, because they have a collateral manager at the society, which is Chibinge, who ensures that the coffee is there and it is of quality. And secondly, the system can show, because we are now in the digital era.
Wow.
This is where, yes, things are really, things are moving. You know, good things are happening.
There is light at the end of the
tunnel
now.
Yes, good things are happening, but people are not
where
aware.
The middlemen have exploited our farmers tremendously in every aspect. Well, time seems to be flying. We have to move out of here to leave room for the sportsman. Let me have your concluding remark.
Now, I did not, just allow me very fast conclude on some of the areas. The other areas that we are focusing on during this capacity and skills enhancement is the cooperative legal policy and regulatory framework. We want this because these commercial officers are the ones supporting, nurturing these cooperatives at the grassroots. So they need to understand the law, the cooperative laws, because a lot has happened within the legal framework. Bank of Uganda amended the MDI Act in 2003 for bigger circles to be regulated and supervised by Bank of Uganda. 2016, government enacted the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act, where circles needed to be regulated by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. In 2020, the Cooperative Societies Act was also amended, allowing circles to come to the register of cooperatives. All of that legal framework, the commercial officers needed to know. Then there is also the element of record keeping, financial accounting and reporting. Like I was mentioning, most of the people do not understand the accounting framework, the reporting framework in cooperatives, including my fellow accountants. Then we are also focusing on cooperative governance and management. How can we have an effective and efficient governance and management system in these cooperatives? We are also focusing on cooperative audit and supervision, because the commercial officers do the supervision and auditing of these cooperatives. So we have also taken them through, when you are going to audit a cooperative, what are the issues that you are focusing on? The books of accounts, how are they supposed to be prepared? All that we have taken them through. So in brief, it has been a package, but we request the government that let's put in a lot of resources. Now that we have trained a few of the commercial officers, let us upscale and bring the entire system on board. Then we also train the wananchi, the beneficiaries of the PDM, Emyoga and others. We go to policy makers so that all Ugandans really understand the role of cooperatives. It is the cooperative model, I repeat, whether I'm here or whether I'm not here, it is the cooperative model that is going to liberate this country and Africa, because cooperatives promote love. You know, when people love each other, then there is transformation. They promote love, they promote teamwork, they promote cooperation within the entire economy.
I must let you go. There are a number of messages, and Mike Walaba says, I love this officer. He's very informed about cooperatives, but also a very good communicator. A number of people are thanking you here and saying it is the way to go. If we focus on that, then Uganda will reach that middle status that we are yearning for. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, and of course the various cooperators and the district commercial officers that have undergone this training. We hope they will be trainers of others.
Very good.
So that you have a trickle down
effect. We want them to go down and train others.
Excuse me. Well, I have to leave room for Ruben. He's already here to take you through the world of sports. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.